California Dream for All is the biggest down payment assistance program that is around anywhere. There are similar programs in certain pockets. San Diego County does a similar program. Los Angeles has a similar program. There's nothing statewide that gives this much money. It's an absolutely amazing program. The problem is that you pay out the nose for the benefit of using it. So you are the buyer is paying back what they borrowed, which is 20% of the purchase price up to $150,000, but they're also paying back a portion of their appreciation. So if they got 20% of the purchase price, think of the state like an investor that invests 20% into them. So the state's going to get their 20% of the growth back later. So if they sell the house in 5 years and it went up by $100,000, then the state gets back the original money they loaned them plus 20% of that increase, or another $20,000. Now the buyer gets the other 80%. Now the buyer has to pay all the fees related to selling the home or the fees related to refinancing. The state doesn't share in any of that, but it makes for a really attractive way to get into a home, but it's an expensive way to get out. But I'd rather get 80% of something than 100% of nothing. So it is, in that regard, an opportunity for home ownership for a lot of people that they wouldn't otherwise have. Now, just so you know, there's rules, and I'm an expert on the rules. I've done 57 of these in the last 2 years. I've got a YouTube channel completely dedicated to it, and I've got a calculator I'm going to show you in a minute that is going to help your clients understand what this is going to mean and how it's going to help them. Having said that, the rules are that you have to be a first-generation home buyer. One person on the loan has to be first generation, meaning that that person, their parents cannot own a home today. Or if they're deceased, their parents could not have owned a home the day they died. And then they have to be a first-time home buyer and also have not owned anything for the last 7 years. So there are a lot of rules to this program, but it is an absolutely amazing program that has helped a lot of people get into home ownership. And I want you to help get your buyers into this program and get into home ownership as well. So what I want to focus on really is how do we get the word out there? Because this is not the right program for everybody, but it is the right program to talk to everybody about, because it is giving you an opportunity to talk about something that hasn't been available for 2 years. This program it works on a lottery. So the last lottery period was April of 2024. There are people buying right now. I've got a meeting with a client in an hour and a half, to lock his interest rate on a house that he's buying in Los Angeles using this Dream for All program that he applied for back in 2024. We are 2 years later and he's using the program. This program is being released for lottery February 24th. And your buyers only have until March 16th to get their name in on the lottery. Now, 2 years ago, it took them about 2 months after the lottery closed before they announced who the winners were. And there were about 17,000 people that put their name in the hat. There were 1,700 people that got selected. So 1 out of 10 people made it. 9 out of 10 didn't. But 3 out of 10, another 30% got on the waiting list. And every one of those people on the waiting list got a voucher over the next 18 months. So it was a huge win. Now, there's no guarantee that there'll be more money in time to get everybody off of the waiting list, but 40% of the people that applied have now had the opportunity to use this program to buy a home. That's pretty decent odds. And so a lot of people are saying, gosh, John, what's the point? Well, the point is give it a shot. It doesn't hurt. You don't have to use the voucher even if you win it. And some people want to use a voucher. They just can't find a home that is going to work for them. So there's a lot of nuance to this program, but right now our laser focus is getting the word out as much as we can. So we want to get the word out to our past clients. We want to get the word. Now you say, John, wait, past clients, like they're people who have bought a home. And well, the problem is their kids don't qualify because they own a home, but their kids' friends might. Their friends' kids might. Their coworkers might. So this is about getting the word out of people helping people. It's also a great thing to put out on social media. Some people do paid advertising. This is a great lead magnet because it is the largest down payment assistance program statewide, and it is a limited time. Scarcity sells. Scarcity sells. And there's nothing more scarce than this program and getting their name into the lottery by March the 16th. So let's dive in and take a look at the resources that I've created to help you sell this program. So what I've got, and the first thing I'm going to share with you is a a simple calculator. So what you're going to see right here is you're going to see a just a really simple calculator that you can send to your clients. Now you're going to get a co-branded version, but this is not the co-branded version. But basically, they can just say, "Hey, I'm buying in San Diego County, and I want to buy a house for $1 million." Not 100,000, John. Let's do the zeros correctly. Great. You can get $150,000 in assistance to buy this home. You're probably looking at a payment of about $6,500 a month, and you probably need about 50 grand out of your pocket to make it work. But guess what? You can buy with as little as $5,000 out of your pocket. Or if you put more money down, you can have a payment as low as $6,259. All they have to do is create a free account. So they click here to create a free account, and they'll fill in all of their information here, and that is how you will capture the lead. Now, let me show you what that looks like on your side. So you are going to have, where did it go? Oh, come on. Oh, here we go. Hold on. That's it. Okay, cool. So this is what it's going to look like on your side. This is your realtor dashboard. I'm going to give you a link that you can sign into that is going to provide you with the ability to set this up. If you don't see the link in a minute when I send it, just shoot me an email and we'll get you set up. But you're going to get a link and you're going to be able to create your own profile. Once you are here, you will get your own co-branded calculator page. So I'm going to preview it and we're going to open it up and see what it looks like. So it's got my information, it's got my brokerage name, it's got my picture. No, that's not me, obviously. It's got all of this information right here. It's got your contact information, and the logo here is really small, but we're going to fix that. And then it basically is yours to share. This little code up here is how we track that it's yours. So it's a co-branded page that is tracked with your code so that when somebody says, hey, I want to buy, again, same situation. So we want to buy in San Diego County. We want to buy a $1.2 million home. And it says, great, oops, 120,000. I keep messing up my zeros. So you can buy a $1.2 million home. And these are what the numbers look like. So they can run all of these numbers. They can say, hey, wait a second. What if it's going to have a $500 a month HOA? Awesome. You can add that in here. What if it's a new construction home that's going to have higher property taxes? You can add that in here. Like, what if it's in a high fire zone? You can add that in here. So you can add anything you want to change these numbers. Okay. But it's all defaulted based upon what the averages are. And now they're able to crunch their numbers. But the key here is somebody's going to say, my gosh, this sounds great, but I want to figure out like, hey, can I see if I qualify for this loan? And so they're going to go in here and they're going to create their own account that will notify you and it'll notify me immediately that they created their own account. At that point, they're able to crunch their own numbers. They're able to take a look. So let's just play with this, for example. So this is going to be Zoom test, and it is going to be at zoom@test.com. And I need to put in a password so they can create an account. And so let's do that, and let's do this. Perfect. All right. And it is creating an account and redirecting you to the calculator. So now it's like, hey, let's figure out what you qualify for. So how many people are going to be on the loan? It's just going to be one. Perfect. What's my name? My name is John, of course. All right, John, how much money do you make? Oh, I make $127,000 a year. Perfect. All right, what's my credit score? Your credit score is 800. Beautiful. All right, and the hour, all these things true? Yep, we're good. Perfect. I have no debt. I'm perfect. All right, beautiful. Where am I buying? I'm buying in San Diego. So let's find us a house in San Diego. Yeah, I got no money. And yeah, I'm looking for a single family home. I'm cool. Target price, I want $1 million, please. Perfect, but I want my payment to be $2,000 a month. Awesome, no HOA. Okay, this is all realistic, right? This is how people think. All right, and then it takes them to the calculator. It updates the interest rates automatically. So I have built this calculator to know exactly how to qualify for Dream for All. It took the income, and it says right here, hey, you make $127,000 a year, which means you can spend half of that monthly, which is $5,292. It already figured it out. And so the max that you qualify for, by the way, it knows the income limit for the county, and it says, hey, I clicked San Benito instead of San Diego. So let's switch my county. San Diego, $207,000 maximum income in San Diego County. And it says, well, what's the most I qualify for? Well, the highest payment I can go is $5,292, which means I can buy a $796,000 home with the least amount out of pocket. I can buy an $865,000 home with the most out of pocket. And then they say, well, whoa, 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 wait a second. I wanted to buy a $1 million home, which is great, but you need to pay $6,875 a month. So it walks them through it. Your leads can figure out on their own, hey, what's this going to cost me? How's this going to help me? The truth is, this was the cheapest monthly payment you will find anywhere for this little amount of money out of pocket. And so when people are saying, God, I can't afford a home, which is a major problem today, is people can't afford homes. So this fixes the affordability piece. Again, there's a big cost at the end, which is you're sharing a portion of the appreciation, but at least you're getting 80% of the appreciation instead of 100% of nothing because you're a renter. So this runs the numbers and it says, sure, you can buy a $1 million home. And then they say, well, no, 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 I don't want that high of a payment. I want this $2,000 payment I was looking for. Awesome. Well, then you're looking at a $300,000 home with nothing out of pocket or a $336,000 home with 30 grand out of pocket. So it really helps explain all of their options to them so that they can see, and then they can go down here and say, you know what? I don't like that option. I want to look at a different option. Cool. Then here you can buy a house without using Dream for All, and it shows you that scenario too. Some people are going to dive really deep into this. Some are not. Some are just going to go superficially, but it's a phenomenal lead magnet to give the opportunity for someone to figure out if this program is going to work for them. I'm also in the middle of developing some landing pages separate from this the specific what do you call it, the calculator landing page. So I've got some other landing pages that are in development right now that I'll be releasing very, very soon. But this is really the nutshell of what I want to cover with you guys today. Like, this program is absolutely a really, really good opportunity for people who have a hard time figuring out, how am I going to become a homeowner in a market like this, with interest rates where they're at, with home prices where they're at. And here's what my results looked like. So in 2024, I got 250 people that were interested in this program. Now, I ended up doing loans for 55 people using the program, but from those 250 people, I've done loans for about another 35 of them, and the rest of them are still in my database that I'm nurturing for the future. In the last 30 days, actually, let me say it this way. In January, I've had 100 inquiries of people who are willing to give me their information that want to talk about doing a loan, and a big part of them are for this program. In the last 4 days, so we're Thursday right now. I'm Thursday, February the 5th. In the last 4 days, I have received 37 inquiries about this program in the last 4 days. This program is hot, and it doesn't mean everybody's going to qualify for it. But here's the truth. They're raising their hand and they are saying, hey, I am interested in buying a home, which is really what we're looking for. We're looking for the opportunity to help people who are interested in buying a home. Maybe this program isn't the right one for them. Maybe they don't qualify. Maybe they're in a position where they think it's a bad idea and they don't want to use the program. That's okay too. But what you're looking at is essentially the opportunity to get them to identify themselves. Okay, the opportunity to get them to identify themselves. And so what you need to do is you need to register. So how you register is simple. You go to dreamforall.info. So I'm going to put this into the chat right now so that you can register for an account. You will upload your photograph, you will upload your contact information, your broker logo, and then we will validate all of it, and then we'll release you within 24 hours. We will upgrade it and basically give you access to the link. So go to dreamforall.info. That is not a page to share. That is a page for you to use. Where that's going to take you is right here. So it's going to take you to this page where you can partner with us so that you can get started with using the landing pages and generating buyer leads. So this is for you to create an account. It's the link that I just gave you, dreamforall.info. You're going to fill in your information on the right side to create your partner account. And then once you do that, that's again, don't use this to send to your clients. Use this to register for yourself. Once you are registered, put in your contact information, upload your photo, upload your logo, and then we will make sure that all of it is formatted properly. We are vetting it because I do not want people that aren't realtors putting their information in there and being able to send this out. And so we kind of got a gateway in between there with humans involved that are double checking and making sure that we've got valid users. But go to dreamforall.info and you'll be able to put in your information into this page, dreamforall.info. Guys, that I don't know if there's questions on people who are here live. I'm doing webinars on this program. There's a lot of questions out there, so I've built a machine to take care of your buyers and your leads. So we're tracking which ones are referred by you through this portal. We are tracking to make sure that they stay connected to you, and I've got every Wednesday night. Between now and the Wednesday before March 16th when it closes, I am doing a 1 hour live stream covering everything about the program. And so I've got this as really a well built out lead funnel. Because what we'll do is we'll get people who are interested, they'll fill out the calculator page, they'll say, hey, I'm interested, they'll go to your landing page and fill it out, and then we will reach out to them and invite them to the live stream webinar that I am doing, where they can chat with me and ask questions and interact. I did my second one last night. The first one I had about 8 people on there and very few questions. Last night I had about 25 people on there and there were a bunch of questions. And each week, I think there's going to be more people, there's going to be more questions, which is going to make each week different. I'm going to cover from A to Z how the program works. So if somebody's listening for the first time, they'll get a thorough understanding of, is this right for me? So sell them on that idea that, hey, you're going to learn from an expert. I don't know anybody who's done more of these loans than I have. There's a lot of loan officers in the state. But I have built a YouTube channel specifically about this program. I've got a lot of content out there. I've got a lot of people that are following my lead and following my advice on this program. And I want you to become part of it. I want you to be able to share this with your network, share this with the people that you trust, share this on social media, and be able to capture people that are thinking about buying a home even if they're not ready today. And this is a huge opportunity. It's a phenomenal program, and I really want to help you make that happen. So at this point, if you have questions about the program, Elizabeth has a question, and so I'll answer hers right now. If you have questions about the program, by the way, this will be recorded and put on one of my YouTube channels. So if you're watching on YouTube, post it in comments below, and I'll be able to get back to you later with the answer. But if you're watching live, post your questions now as I talk about Elizabeth's question. And if there's more, I'll keep going. If there's not, I'll let you get back to your day. Elizabeth says, how far do you go back as far as generations? If your parents own, your kids are first generation. Are your grandkids still excluded? How do they check that? Oh, beautiful question. So all that matters is one of the buyers. So all buyers have to occupy the property. You're not allowed to do co-signers on this program. Everybody has to be moving in. Everybody has to be a first-time home buyer. First-time home buyer means that each person cannot have lived in a home they owned or their spouse owned anytime in the last 3 years. So that's the definition of first-time homebuyer. One person must be first generation. So that one person, there's 2 parts. One part is they can't have had their name on anything in the last 7 years. You'd say, well, John, obviously they can't because that's a first-time homebuyer. No, a first-time homebuyer is only looking back 3 years, and it only cares if you lived in the home that you owned, which means you can own a rental property and still be a first-time homebuyer. You could co-sign with your parents, but as long as you haven't lived there, you're still a first-time homebuyer. But first generation says you can't have had your name on anything. No mortgages, no bare land, no houses, no nothing for 7 years. And your parents, adopted or biological, cannot own a home today. Just your parents. So that one person, both of their parents, adopted or biological, cannot have owned a home. Okay. John, that's a really good question. I'll get to that in just a second. So your parents cannot have owned a home, cannot own a home today. That's it, today. If they're deceased, they cannot have owned a home the day they passed away. So Elizabeth, I'm going to repeat your question. And you say, if are your grandchildren excluded? No, because we don't look we don't look up the chain. We're looking only at one of the buyers, and that one buyer, both of their parents have to not own a home today, or if they're deceased, they could not have owned a home the day they died. So first generation is not looking backwards and saying, well, my grandparents owned a home and my parents don't, but I'm not a first generation homeowner because of my grandparents. That's not a thing. Now, the second thing you said is, how do they check it? That's why it takes 2 months to release the vouchers. Let me rephrase that. That's why it took 2 months in 2024 to release the vouchers. I don't know how long it's going to take this time, because what the state is doing is background checks on the winners. So the state is, as a matter of fact, during that 2 month waiting period, there were some people that received emails from the state saying, hey, we have a question, provide further information about your family, provide further information about your parents, upload a copy of your birth certificate. So they're digging. They hire a private investigation firm. They're digging into your lineage, your parents. As you register, you're supposed to put in contact information for your parents. I'm sure there's people who know that their parents own a home, but they just click the box that says, I don't know who my parents are. And well, the state's trying to weed those people out. So the state has hired a private investigation firm, and they are double checking to see if they can find people's parents, make sure that their parents do not currently own a home, or that their parents didn't own a home at the time that they passed away. That's what the state is doing to double check it. There's no other way to know. Once you get a voucher, we're not going back and double checking that again. Like if somebody asked me, John, my dad and I are both applying for this Dream for All program. If he gets his voucher first, do I then not get to use my voucher because now my dad owns a home? And I said, well, how would I know that your dad bought a house? And she kind of looked at me and she goes, well, because he's here with me and he's going to use you. And I said, well, how do I know he's your dad? She's like, he's not. And I'm like, okay, like I'm not the police that's going to dig into that part. The truth is, if the state validated you, they're not going back and revalidating that again later. Things can change so often. So Elizabeth, hopefully that helps answer your question. John, you have a phenomenal question. He said, how do we get clients an invite to your Wednesday night Zoom? And so you will go here, which is, I'll show you in a couple of ways. So let's go share and go right here. And so you are going to go to CaliforniaDreamForAll.info. So that is my landing page for this program, CaliforniaDreamForAll.info. Okay. When you go there, right in the middle of the page, it's got, hey, register here for the webinar. Hopefully it's been updated for next week's webinar because we just did it last night. Yeah. Okay. So they're going here. They're filling out their information on this page. We update it every single week to have the upcoming week's webinar. And so you're going to click right here. They can see my YouTube channel. They can schedule a call with me. They can get their own link to my calculator. Now, if they go through this link, it doesn't tie it to you. Okay. So you want to be sending them your co-branded link. And actually, here's the cool thing. Once they're in here, save this. Yeah, here you go. So once they're in here, this is the buyer that we utilized. Once they're in here, they can go to resources. And so within their resources, right here is CaliforniaDreamForAll.info, and they can get to it right there. From there, they can look at so many things. I've got a payback calculator. I've got income limits. I've got frequently asked questions, information about homebuyer education, all of this stuff. I've got all of it broken out for your buyers to thoroughly understand how all of it works. But John, hopefully that answers your question, which is they're going to ultimately end up on this CaliforniaDreamForAll.info page. And from this page, they're going to click right here. Every week, we're going to have the updated webinar. That's how they're going to join the webinar. And the truth is, if you really wanted to, you could, the link changes every week. So be careful. You don't want to use this registration link. But gosh, John, we can talk offline. We could create a page that would update with the link for you, and you could promote that page and have people just register there. We can talk more about it specifically, but this is how you get registered for the webinar. So hopefully that helps answer your question. Let Let's get back to here. Elizabeth says, do they have to be a U.S. citizen? I-10, okay. I-10 is not okay. So it's a Fannie Mae conventional loan. So it cannot use an I-10. Don't have to be a citizen. You just have to meet Fannie Mae's citizenship requirements. So they can be a citizen, they can be a permanent resident alien, they can be a non-permanent resident alien. DACA is acceptable. But certain EAD codes, employment authorization document codes, are not acceptable. So if you know anything about the immigration side of things, there's lots of different codes that represent different circumstances. Visas, lots of visas are allowed. So there's lots of people, because the truth is, a lot of my buyers are immigrants. Because they're first generation, well, clearly they're first generation. Their parents don't even have residency in the United States, and so they have not owned a home. So that is pretty common, and we're used to working through the issues that come with immigration, but they do have to have some legal status, and there's a whole list of paperwork that we go through to confirm. Most people we're good, some people we are not, and we will be able to help work with you on that. But the simple answer to your question about I-10s is no, they're not allowed. Has to have a social security number, but we can get people into this program with zero money out of pocket. A lot of my buyers, especially if you're buying for less than $750,000, you can get in with zero money out of pocket. I've got buyers that buy over $1 million and they may only have 10 or 15 grand out of pocket that they need. Like, this program is absolutely amazing because we can take part of the $150,000 and use it to pay the closing costs. Or we can get a seller credit. As a matter of fact, I'm drawing docs today. No, I'm not drawing docs. I drew docs yesterday. I have a lady signing today that is one of my more complicated scenarios. She got a 3% seller credit. We financed all of the closing costs into the loan. She used the 3% seller credit to do a 2-1 temporary buy down, and she layered on a permanent buy down. So the rate when we locked it was 6.125, 6.25. She used some of the seller credit to buy down the interest rate permanently to 5.5. Then she did a 2-1 temporary buy down that is buying down the interest rate to 3.5% for the first year, 4.5% for the second year, and then 5.5% for the third year and beyond. And she's doing this on a $740,000 home in Sacramento County. And she's got zero money out of pocket. I refunded back to her her earnest money deposit. I refunded back to her her appraisal deposits. I even refunded back to her her credit report fee that she prepaid, a portion of the credit report fee. And we worked out the numbers so close that technically we used every penny of the seller credit, and we ended up with $162 of seller credit remaining that the seller got to keep. That is as perfect as it gets. Okay, that one was lined up beautifully. I'm super proud of how we structured that. She got an amazing deal. The realtors negotiated an amazing deal for her, and it was 2 years in the making because she got in the lottery in February or April of 2024. She got her voucher in August of 2025, and now here we are. Her voucher expires in February. She got into a home 2 weeks ago. We are 2 weeks into the escrow. We've already drawn docs, and she's signing this afternoon. So this program is absolutely amazing. And forgive me for how egotistical this is going to sound, but I am an expert in it. Like, I am truly an expert in it. And if you haven't worked with me before, I understand my numbers very, very well. If you have worked with me before, you should know that. And this program requires somebody that has that level of expertise to be able to navigate the negotiation, to be able to navigate the structure. And I am for sure, as always, interviewing to be your lender to take great care of you and all of your buyers, not just with this program, with any, but right now you need to go to that link. You need to go through dreamforall.info, not californiadreamforall.info, because that's my main page. But for you to sign up, it's just dreamforall.info. You need to go to that link. Elizabeth says, in my experience, what percentage were citizens versus not? Just curious. There's a lot of non-US citizens, like a lot. A third? I mean, it's a lot. It's not a small percentage. Like, it's a lot that were not citizens. I could guess maybe, I'm going to guess a third that were not US citizens. That is totally me guessing, but it's a lot. Like, and I'm having conversations. every single day with people right now that are saying, "Hey, John, can I do it? I have this one, the H-1B visa. I have, EAD C-14 code. I've got the list. I understand how they work. We navigate through the waters. I have another buyer in escrow right now that has a different type of a visa that his visa is expiring in May, but he can't renew the visa. His employer has to, and the employer hasn't initiated the renewal yet. So we typically need to have at least 1 year left on his work visa, and he doesn't have it. But I was able to show through underwriting, we got a copy from his employer that says, yes, we are going to be applying for his renewal once the time comes. We have a history of him being renewed, got it in front of our legal department. They signed off on it. We're in good shape. So he is in escrow right now. He found a home, or he was the one. He was also one. Again, everybody in escrow right now got into the voucher registration portal back in April of 2024. It's been 2 years. They're now finally getting access to buying a home. It doesn't mean that everybody that gets into this program has to wait 2 years, but it does mean that this program is a scarce opportunity. It's a limited time opportunity to get in. It's been 2 years since we did it. Now, technically, the state could allocate more money this July in the budget. And if they do, then we'll have another lottery next year. But if they don't, we won't. And so we don't want people to miss out on this opportunity. And that's the number one thing that I'm trying to impress upon you is this program is a limited time, and we literally have 6 weeks from now. So the portal will open. We're giving approval letters today. Operators are standing by. We're giving approval letters today for people to register into the portal, but the portal opens on February 24th. It closes on March 16th at 5 p.m. If they don't get it in by March 16th at 5 p.m., they don't have a shot. What's the harm? Okay, there's zero harm in trying to get into this program, and I have my entire team is very well versed in it and ready to take care of your buyers and your clients and figure out if this is the right program or not. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover today. It does not look like we have any other questions. If you do have a question, type quickly. Elizabeth, you're very, very welcome. Aside from that, gang, really, really appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll have the link in the comments down below, dreamforall.info. That's where you go to register, upload all of your personal information. We will validate all of it and then release you so that you can use the link. And then we look forward to helping take care of you and your buyers. So hope everybody has an absolutely wonderful day. Appreciate you all joining me today, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.